As dads, some days we feel like we have all the answers, and some days we feel like we don't have a clue. If that describes you, you're at the right place. This is the All Pro Dad Podcast. Hey, welcome to the All Pro Dad Podcast, where each week we take a look at just one question. We talk about what the experts say. We talk about what we've gotten wrong mostly, and occasionally what we've gotten right. I'm your host, Ted Lowe, and today I am with my co-host, Mr. Bobby Lewis.
What's going on, man?
Mr. BJ Foster. How are you guys?
Good.
Well, today we have a question that I'm very passionate about. I think it's very important. I'm excited for us to dive into it. And that is, how do we see the best in our kids?
Yeah.
What about you guys? Who saw the best in you growing up? That you look back and you went, that person, they thought I was better than I was. Like who was that person for you guys?
My mom and my mom and my dad. I mean, I think they always, my mom in particular, I think was, would always, even to this day, she's like, "You're so handsome." And I'm like, "Have you looked at me lately?" Like, and so, she was like, "You're so talented. You've got so much going for you." I mean, there's been a constant encouragement, that way, but they both were.
All the way through.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, same for me. They were quick to give out compliments and encouragements. It's like, "Oh man, you did a great job on that test. I knew you could do it." That sort of stuff. They always saw the best.
I love that. You guys, you just come from the greatest places. I'm so proud for you. Your counseling bills aren't nearly as much. But no, I grew up, and we've talked about before on the podcast, ADHD did not have a name. Other than on my report card, it would be inclined to mischief and talks too much. So that was as close as they got to a label then. So I would get a lot of you need to sit down, or what were you thinking was a huge crowd favorite. Like, what were you thinking? My dad asked me that a lot. What just happened? And I look back now and going, of course he did. I mean, it was the craziest. I would do the craziest things. Like, whoa, like what happened from point A to point B there? And so there was a lot of stop it, watch out, just or blurting out and all that stuff. And so I'm sure it was frustrating for adults, but it was shaming to me. And so that was frustrating. But I look back and there were teachers and coaches and especially some family members that just saw the best in me. And that mattered. And the reason I wanted us to bring this up, and today's episode is based off of an article that I wrote for All Pro Dad, was when I think about how I was drawn to those people. And we're all drawn to people who see the best in us, right? I mean, that's just natural. If there's somebody that loves us and sees things in us and encourages us, we're drawn to them. And I think you add that dynamic to a dad, and it's absolutely huge. So what I want us to do is kind of dive into all right, dads, you know that you want to see the best in your kids. And I think at the end of the day, when our kids are describing us when they're adults, like let's say our kids are sitting here as podcast hosts, and they said, "Did your dad see the best in you?" We want them, of course, to say, absolutely. We want to be that guy in their life. So we're going to talk a little bit about how do we do that? Like, what's some practical ways that we can do that as dads? Number one is to look your kid in the face. We talk about that a lot on the podcast, don't we? And I think it's important because we're always looking down. Do you guys see that with dads and with people and out and about? I'm asking a very obvious question.
Yeah. I think eye contact is underrated. It seems like it's just taken for granted in a lot of ways, a lot of sectors of life. But with kids, I think anytime they're nervous, anytime they're scared, anytime they're not feeling confident, what do? Oh, let's look at my shoes. Let's avoid eye contact because there's some sort of accountability there. There's some sort of comfort involved with eye contact. But if dads look kids right in the eye, that's going to inspire the kid. Even if you're disciplining, it drives the point home. But even if you're encouraging, it drives the point home. Eye contact, there's something about it where your brains connect when the eyes connect. And connecting with your eyes with your kids, it's gonna bring a level of comfort to them.
Well, research shows that eye contact with anybody creates empathy in your brain for them. So especially when I'm frustrated, I can, I start monologuing or speeching and looking around, but I think when we look at our kids and we look at our spouse, it just does something that's so powerful. And I just think, put your phone down and look at your kid.
Yeah, one of the greatest shows I think that was ever on television was the show Parenthood, and Truly. the patriarch that was this gruff guy named Zeke Braverman, and he and his wife were going to counseling, and he's this old crusty Vietnam vet, and so there's this whole episode where he just keeps he'll start spouting off, and you can see she's getting upset, and he looks at her in the eyes, and he just stops and goes, I see you. I hear you. And that kind of, I think everybody, particularly kids, want to be seen. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's, the story that you told earlier where it's, you have ADHD and people are labeling you and saying stop and whatever. And you just are in there going, no one's seeing me. And yet then there are these people that look you in the eye, that see the best in you, that see past maybe some of the behavior. So I think that's what kids are looking for. And so if you're able to I love that you use the word connect, Bob, because that's what I think it is. You look at them and it's like, I see you. I can see you.
We got to slow down to look someone in the eye too. You're moving so fast. You're like, oh yeah, I hear you. And you just keep walking. You don't stop and pause too. You stop and pause, then you're in the moment with your kids.
Mm-hmm. And if you have little kids, getting down on their level, I know you can't always do that,
Well, it's sore, your back, your knee.
And driving, that's a little dangerous to get down on their level. But it's those moments that you you just think for, how big you are to your kids when when they're little, to get down their level. The toughest moment of my life was, of course, when my mom passed away. I'll never forget as long as I live in the chaos of it. My aunt, her sister, who is 22 at the time, and I'm 10, she gets down on her knee and she said, look at me. She goes, I'm never going anywhere. I'm right here. Yeah. But it was that moment and that calming presence of her that was just incredible. And I just think it was those people that made the difference. So look at your kid. Yeah. And I think the more we do the podcast, the more I go, we know dads are busy. We know dads are going a million miles an hour, but it seems like these simple things are the most important things that don't take any time. They're just an adjustment in what you're already doing. You're already talking to your kid. You're already trying to discipline your kid. You're already trying to direct them. And it's just these paradigm shifts, just slight, that can make a big difference. I don't know. I get excited about that. The other one, and this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but I think you guys will get it, is to laugh at their humor, because they're saying, they're asking, are you, do you like me? And humor is, it's putting us out. It's a bid for connection with kids. Mm-hmm. And let's just be honest. Sometimes they think they're funny. We think they're silly. And you're like, I don't want to affirm that. That wasn't funny.
Yeah. My 5-year-old tells a lot of nonsensical jokes that she makes up. She thinks they are hilarious. She's like, hey, why did the cow go to school? Pickles. I'm like, what? And that doesn't even make sense. And she's rolling on the floor. I'm like, but I howl at the joke because she'll remember if I didn't. And so I think humor is a really powerful tool. We've talked about that, many different times on the podcast. If you want to see the best in your kid, tell jokes to them. If you want them to feel good about themselves, laugh at the jokes they tell you. It's really connecting. Humor is super powerful.
Yeah, I failed at that. So my son was he was learning how to tell jokes. Yeah. And so he was even asking me, how do I, and so he kept trying out jokes, and it was stuff like that. Yeah. And so he was going, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not it. And it was over and over again. He was, and it had gone on for a while. Yeah. And he's like, okay, one more. And I was like, all right, one more, because these are not good. And my wife was right behind him, and she was like, and he just started sobbing. And I was like, I was just I was trying to teach him how to. I was trying to teach him how to do jokes, and he even looked at me through tears and said, "I'm trying really hard at this."
Gosh.
Yeah. So congratulations, dads out there. You me? If you're not me, good job with this. So, but here's the thing: like my kids are. I think they're funny, and particularly now that they're teenagers. Now they just roast me all the time. Yeah. And
probably because you didn't laugh at their jokes when they were four.
Well,
you shake them with pain.
Well, I deserve it. Every time they roast me, I'm like, I had that coming. Yeah. So
I taught you how to do that.
I taught you how to do that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, nobody gets this all right, and we do have to coach them up on their comedy. Let's be honest. We don't want them to go to school with bad jokes.
Right.
That's setting them up for failure. We have to do that. I think it's just what we're saying is delighting them. If they're happy, you're happy.
Yeah.
You may have to say, you got to get better jokes. ChatGPT, it takes 2 minutes, son. Get after it. And kids are, infamous for going, I guess it would be infamous or maybe famous for saying, watch this, watch this, watch this.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's just, hey, delight in me. Do you think I'm great? Watch this. They're saying, see the best.
Yeah. Watch this really means, do you care about me?
Yeah. But that can get exhausting too, right? Sure. You're going, I just saw that same dive, and it's not diving, you're jumping. You're just jumping in the pool. Number 3, and BJ, I want you to speak to this, and because you were in youth ministry for a long time, ask them questions. Why is asking questions, how in the world does that relate to seeing the best in our kids?
Yeah, it's open-ended questions in particular. Try to stay away from yes and no questions. It just opens them up. You really want to peel the layers back, get to know who they are. It's a part of that being seen. It's a part of that I'm showing interest in you. I want to know more. I want to know. I'm okay with everything that's in there. Like if you can ask questions and not react, in a negative way.
Wait, hold on a minute. I want to double click on that. I'm okay with what's in there. That's powerful. Yeah. The good, the bad.
Yeah.
The terrible jokes. I am okay.
Everything. I'm okay with your insecurities. I'm okay. That's the thing. They start sharing emotions, difficulties, struggles, and if you're like me, at least, you tense up. It's like, ooh, it's almost like there's something here to solve. There's something here there's a problem that I need to get them past to kind of get, and it can be uncomfortable. And the more you're able to kind of sit in that discomfort with them, rather than we talk about this all the time, but trying to fix it, trying to make it okay. When they start opening up and they start sharing the real stuff underneath, you need to know that you're on holy ground at that point, and you need to welcome it and ask more questions and sit with them in discomfort and delight with them in the things that are wonderful, all that. So yeah, there's an art to it. The open-ended questions.
BJ, you're the best at self-deprecating humor, and I hope you never stop, not even on this episode. But when you talk about your kids and, of course, how much you love them, but also with conversations that you've had and things are going on, your kids tell you things. I think everybody in the office tells BJ things. I think people see you, I know I do. You know that when you share something with you, you're not going to get in your face about it. You're not going to even fix us, but there is an empathy about you, a strongness about you, a safety about you that I think, wow, do you live that out? And I love the fact that you've brought what you were so good with teenagers to your own teenagers, which, boy, that's because there's so much more at stake, or our heart's so tied. So
thank you.
Well, I'll ask you this, though, because you have worked with teenagers for a long time. You have teenagers now. How early should dads be starting this open-ended questions? Is it 3 years old, 2 years old?
Sure. Yeah. Why not? There's no reason to hold back. And to tell you the truth, the stuff that 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds say is
unfiltered,
the funniest things you will ever. So one of the things that I started doing early, and I would highly recommend this, is anytime I had a funny conversation with my kids when they were young, I would put the conversation on Facebook because I just wanted other people to delight in this. I just wanted other people to laugh at the conversation that I was having. And I'm not kidding. Almost every day or every other day, you know, and I stopped doing it when they were like 10, you know, 10, 11, like you start getting into that age where it's like, you can't post stuff about your kids online. But almost every day, every other day, it comes up on a Facebook memory.
That's fun.
And I started to log it into a Word document, and my wife and I are talking about making it into a book with illustrations.
Oh man, that's cool.
And so ask the kids open-ended questions when they're real little, see what their answers are, and log them down.
Log them. You'll think you will remember who said what. Like my dad I don't know which one of you did this. And I was like, how could he not remember? Now I'm like, I don't remember which one, except for the funny things that I have on my computer. I wouldn't sell it for $1 million because it is the joy of my life. And they are so funny.
Did the same thing the other day because my 5-year-old said, Daddy, I want a pet chameleon. And my first reaction was, it's camouflaged in your room. Go clean your room. You'll find it. That's right. You'll find it if you just clean your room. It's just hiding in there.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. I love the idea of making that into a book. That'll be a cool thing.
Was it your daughter that you said, hey, I want your Christmas lights? And she slides across a piece of paper that says cat.
Cat. Yeah, just like one word, cat. I'm like, well, that's what you can spell. Yeah.
Keep your toys. I want a cat.
Yeah. Same thing. I did the same thing with my son, and he just wrote $1,000. That's what he wrote in his list. So I like cat.
I love that. BJ, can you give us a couple of examples of open-ended questions that you think that any dad they pick up their kid from school today or from practice that they could ask their kid?
Yeah. I mean, you know, hey, how was your day today? What was your favorite part? How are things going with your friends? You know, who do you feel like is your closest friend right now and why? And,
that's good.
What are you looking forward to? What's your biggest stressor right now? What's stressing you out the most?
That's good.
Is it me? That's a yes or no.
Yeah, that's good. Is it me?
That kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, those are kind of just, you know, just kind of dive in on what would you know, one of the things that it's like, what would I want people to ask me? You know, what are you passionate about right now? What do you think you're good at? You know, what do you struggle with? What's hard? What's your least favorite subject in school? What's your favorite? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite show right now? Why? You know,
because they're living these a little bit semi-adult lives away from us for a lot of hours, right? And come on, and their answers can be fascinating. That's great. Number 4, to see the best in your kids, we have point out their strengths. You know, kids are bombarded with what they're doing wrong, and again. You know, from friends and teachers, there's this pressure, the way you look, sports, you know, school, they're bombarded with that. And I don't know about you guys, but I think I can be fearful about the things they're doing wrong the most. So I feel like I need to address that, because what does that look like? I know it looks like this at 5. What's that? We used to say that phrase all the time. Well, if they're doing this at 5, what does that same attitude and behavior look like at 12? I mean, we paint like this horror movie.
I think for me, if I want to see the best in my kids, when I'm talking to them about their strengths, I don't want it to be anything that's out of their control. Meaning, you're a fast runner. Well, what if they break their leg? They're not a fast runner anymore. So I'm praising their strengths. Like, you did really well in this painting project. Okay, well, that's great and all. That's a skill perhaps that they've gotten pretty good at through practice. But when I talk about their strengths, I really want to praise their character. Say, you are so empathetic. Oh, you are so caring. Oh, you're so generous. I want their strengths. And when they think the word strength, I want them to think something outside of like what I can do. I want them to think of who I am or what characteristics, that I have inside of me. And that may be different in different seasons of life. But I don't want to only be praising the strengths that are sports related, music related, play at school related, that sort of thing. That way they know that, your strength comes from within and who you are, not what you do.
I think that's probably, if we look at a handful of things that we talk about on the podcast, it keeps coming up over and over and over. It is affirming their character versus affirming their performance. That's good. And we'll probably keep talking about that because that is key. Just to keep pointing. I love the way you treat your sister. I love how kind you are. And I think dads, here's what we've got to realize is they're not going to look back at us and go, Dad, I want you to know that this is healing to my soul. And I now believe I can fly and touch the sky. So thank you they don't know those words yet.
Thanks, Dad. Yeah. That'll be it.
Thanks, Dad. They won't look at you. You give them eye contact. They're probably not going to give it back. I mean, it's those things of going, that is the part of a job of a dad. It's thankless, but we want to say, thank you. Thumbs up. Good job. 5 stars. That's awesome. Number 5 way to see the best in our kid is remember your own journey. And this was one of the lines that someone gave me, is to stop in those moments and go, if I was this kid, what would I want me to do? What would I want my dad to do? And I think that's helpful. Like looking back, growing up, especially with the ADHD, like what would I want? What would I have wanted? I think I would wanted a lot of people to be like my aunt was. And that was just, hey, it doesn't matter what you do. I don't ride your emotional wave. I'm safe. I'm right here. And that actually was the most soothing and probably calming and made me do all those things way less when I was with her and even her husband. They were very calm with me. And so it's just, who do you want to be as a dad through the lens of what would I have wanted right now? Does that make sense?
And my mom used to, I think I've mentioned this on other podcasts before, but my mom, when I get on my kids, like, they're 2 years old and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, BJ, they just got here. Like they,
they're fresh.
Yeah. Like when you think about even a teenager if our lifespan was an hour, a teenager would have been here for 5 minutes. And so like, of course they don't know, but we expect kids to be at the place that we are, but it took us 50 years, 30 years, 40 years to learn these things. And so we just need to give them patience and grace and, understand that this is learning how to do life it takes a long time and it's really difficult. And we have a long way to go at where we are, so.
I love that. They've just gotten here.
They just got here.
And I go the other way because I've got kids who are kind of mature for their age and I don't want to treat them older than they are. And so I think seeing the best in the kids is like seeing them at their best where they currently sit, not like where you kind of perceive them to be. I have a very mature 13-year-old. So I need to treat her like a 13-year-old, not the 15 or 16-year-old. She kind of has those sort of mannerisms, a little bit older for her age. Treat her 13, don't treat her 15, same with any kids that are younger. I don't want to just push it too fast. Like you said, they just got here. Why are we rushing,
It's their first time at being human. Yeah. Just like the rest of us. Well, you guys, this has been a great conversation, and dads, we want to say to you and just encourage all of us, man, this is not easy. This is not easy. They give us a lot of material to focus on that's maybe not the best of them. So this is powerful to make sure we see the best in them.
For sure.
And that leads us to the pro move of the week. We just want you to go in the show notes and check this out and choose one of those 5 things that you can do with your kids. Whether that's eye contact, whether that's laughing at their humor, whether that's pointing out their strengths, remembering your own journey, whichever one that is for you. If you apply one of those, that's enough. If you go home and give your kid a little bit more eye contact and they see a little bit more delight in your face, that's going to matter. We promise. You guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. This is good stuff.
Sure.
It's good stuff. And most of all, thank you for hanging out with us today. If you could do us a favor and go and rate and review this podcast, it helps other people to find it. If you're looking for other ways to stay on top of your dad game, you can go to allprodad.com, or you can go to the show notes and you can click on our LinkedIn profiles. We'll have some things there. But most of all, we want to say thanks for joining us. We know you and your kids will be glad that you did. Thanks for listening to the All Pro Dad podcast. All Pro Dad is the fatherhood program of the nonprofit Family First. Along with our motherhood program, iMom, we exist to help you love your family well. Subscribe to our daily email, the All Pro Dad Play of the Day, by going to allprodad.com/subscribe and get daily powerful and practical fatherhood tips in your inbox. The All Pro Dad podcast is hosted by me, Ted Lowe, produced by Bobby Lewis.